Well, hey guys, good evening. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It's great to be with you on Inspirations for Your Life. If this is your very first time joining me here on the show, I want to take the opportunity to say thank you. And of course, welcome. Great to have you here. If you are coming back, definitely want to say welcome back. Thank you so much. If it's your first time here, be sure to check out believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, of course, inspiring creations right after the show is over. You can check that out. You can get my short form content and long form content and so many other great things, including articles and so much more. So definitely check that out. And I think you will find it really interesting to help you inspire your life and become a better version of yourself. All right, guys, if you're thirsty, I've got an RO water here. Feel free to go get yourself something. Maybe that's RO water. Maybe it's another drink. Maybe it's a snack, a beverage. I don't know. Whatever it is, feel free to go grab that. Come on back to the show so we can kick this off. All right, everyone? All right. So let's go ahead and kick this show off right now because, yes, we just started a brand new master topic just the other day, and we are into the show right now. So this is Inspirations for Your Life, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, everyone, once again, and welcome back to Inspirations for Your Life. This is the daily motivational show designed to help you grow with intention. Okay. And I know that sounds like something that's hard to believe, but it's really the truth, guys. Growing with intention. Okay. That is important to understand. Clarity and, of course, confidence. Who am I? Oh, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It is such a privilege and a pleasure to be with you here on the show. I am your host, serial entrepreneur, engineer, marketing specialist, video producer, podcast host, coach, keynote speaker, graduate student, and a passionate lifelong learner. Today's episode is all about powerful because it speaks to something many people misunderstand. We live in a world that rewards noise, flash, and constant self-promotion. But the truth is that the world doesn't reward the loudest voices long term, as we said. It rewards the quiet, strong voices. This episode is about the strategic advantage of being underrated, not ignored, not invisible, out of fear, but intentionally underestimated while you build something real. Being underrated gives you freedom when expectations are low, pressures drop. You're no longer performing for applause. You're focused on progress. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, you start in the beginning. And when you start in the very beginning, you start without an audience. You start with anybody caring about your content or what you're doing. You basically, you start with this. And that's a very, very big problem for a lot of people to understand, how that actually works. So I want to share this with you because this is a really important part of the show here. Um, Quiet builders win all the time because they are not distraction by the validation. They're protected by privacy and they're driven, ladies and gentlemen, by discipline. Yeah, discipline. Discipline sounds like something that is so easy, and it is as long as you have the motivation to stick with it. Okay. That's a very, very important thing to understand. And if you understand that, then maybe you'll realize what's going on or why something is going on. Okay. I think that's a very important thing to understand. What's going on. And so sometimes people don't quite get what it is. And the reason I'm saying that is because people just don't understand. They don't understand the value of that and knowing that discipline is the power tool to get you to become a better version of yourself. Now, I'm not going to tell you it's easy because it's not. All right. It's about you making choices in your life. And these choices help us to become a better version of ourself every single day of our life. Not just today, not just tomorrow, but every single day of your life. I think that's really the key. Our next point, guys, is all about invisible work that compounds. When no one is watching, you sharpen skills without interference. Silence becomes a tool. Attention drains focus, but quiet sharpens it. The underrated stay hungry because nothing has been handed to them. Every win is earned. And I think when a win is earned, it means more to us than just where we're coming from. Okay. Like sometimes people say to me, John, that was hard. When something's hard, you appreciate it more. And I think that makes a very big difference to what's happening or why something is happening. All right. That's very important to realize. Our next point is all about hidden effort that builds an edge. Less hype means fewer interruptions. Quiet growth avoids sabotage. When you're not in the spotlight, you're free to make mistakes, refine systems, and master fundamentals. Low spotlight accelerates mastery, anonymity, and it protects momentum. You're ignored, but improving. Invisible seasons strengthen discipline. Quiet wins often surprise systems that underestimated you. So when you are, let's say, for lack of a better term, somebody who's not known, right? You're in the beginning, but you're not known yet. And because you're not known, nobody's really has their eyes on you, okay? Nobody has their eyes on you. And that's okay that they don't have their eyes on you. And actually, in some ways, it allows us to breathe a little bit, okay? It allows us to breathe a little more. And so that's important. That's really important. That's important. And I think if you can understand that, then this will make more sense for you. Okay. Underrated people build resilience. Hidden reps matter. Less validation forces internal motivation. Silence fuels growth. Quiet effort compounds over time. It compounds over time. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, everybody? I hope it makes sense. But when we hear something or see something the first time, it doesn't always make direct sense. Low noise creates high skill. Hidden work lasts longer than public hype. Quiet execution beats talk. The underrated don't need permission. They dominate later. And that means something very, very interesting. The reason they dominate later is because now they understand what it's about. They understand the why. They understand the how. And when they understand, it's like, oh, this makes a lot of sense now. This is why I'm doing this. Does that make? Okay. When we see something the first time, it's like we don't necessarily get it. All right. So we see it again, and then we see it again. And when we see it a couple of times, we're like, oh, wait a minute. Now this actually makes sense to me. Because I'm learning, right? I'm learning. And I can apply this, and then I can definitely become a better version of myself. Silence sharpens patience. Invisible advantage is real. Power. Quiet builders always last. People that are quiet oftentimes carry the big stick. And the reason I say that is that when somebody's quiet, you don't think they're going to get anywhere, but really they do get somewhere. You do get somewhere. I think that's a very, very important thing to understand. It's about that, because when it's about that, you change. And that change can impact not just today, tomorrow, but many years from today. All because we now have a different perspective. of who we are and where we're going. I think that's a very important one. If, ladies and gentlemen, you've ever felt overlooked, well, this is what we're talking about today. It's for you, because being unseen doesn't mean being unimportant. So many times I hear people, oh, John, you know what? I didn't get noticed. I didn't get recognized. I didn't get chosen. Just because you weren't chosen doesn't mean you're not important. It means you're building without interference. So when you build without interference, it means something. It means that you have the possibility to grow. All right? You have that possibility to grow. And when we have that possibility to grow, it's like, oh wow, wait a minute. Now I finally get it, right? I finally get like what it's about and why things are happening, a certain way. I think that's a very important thing for many people, to understand, is that we have to grow in a way that's going to make a difference for our lives and the people around us. Now, if you're saying to me, John, like, I've tried growing, but whatever I do doesn't seem to go anywhere. Now, that doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. It might be the environment that you're currently in. It might be the situation that is affecting you to act in a way that is going to deter you from your actual goal. All right? From your actual goal. That's very important to understand. All right? When we get deterred from a goal, it's like, oh, wait a minute. What am I supposed to do? Why am I even doing this? All right? And I'm doing this because I want to change something. I want to change the way my life is. I want to change the way I'm living my life, what I'm doing with my life. Okay? If we know that one thing, then we can change it. Remember I said to you, when you can measure something, you can change it. And this might not be something that you understand right away. And I say that to you because maybe you're not quite understanding it. And what you're not understanding is that there's a perception difference. A perception difference that can change who you are and how you act and how you react. Remember I said before that we can be passive, okay? We can be basically passive in one way, that we don't do anything, or active. Now, it's a little different when we think about actions. We think about proactive and reactive. Similar, but not exactly the same. So proactive means I do what I need to do, like we talked about the fire and protecting ourselves. And reactive means, oh, wait, I didn't do something. I better do it. It's like, I have to do it now. Like, maybe you had to print something, right? And maybe suddenly, you had to print all this paper and suddenly you ran out of ink. Well, because you were not proactive, now you got to be reactive, run to the store before they close, get the ink, get it printed, and then finish compiling the book or whatever you're doing. That gets very complicated. Now, what's the big deal about a piece of paper? Nothing really, actually. When we think about a piece of paper, we're thinking about the fact that it's something that we don't quite understand. And the reason I say we don't understand it is because we are just we're kind of like changing what we're doing. And when we are reactive about something, it's like we suddenly don't understand that this one change we made in our life can actually affect us. And it doesn't always become obvious at day one. Nope. It doesn't come obvious at day one. When we see that we got to make one little change, like, oh, gee, if we have to be reactive for one thing, it's no big deal. But what if you had to be reactive for many things in your life? I mean, I'm just asking you this dumb question. What if you had to be reactive for many, many, many things in your life? Depending on how many there are, that could really, really frustrate you. Okay? And you might have not even planned for that whole concept, but suddenly it hits you. It hits you because you now know that this is something you have to do or something you have to change. Not because you wanted to do it, but suddenly because this happened in a way that maybe made no sense. Okay? No sense at all. And this sense could affect how you move forward in your life. Right? How you move forward in your life. Moving forward is something that a lot of people think is an easy thing. Okay? But what we find out is that it's not an easy thing. Just because you know how to move forward doesn't mean you're moving forward in the right direction. I'm going to say something I've said before. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because you can does not mean that you should. Think about that, guys. Just because you can does not mean you should. And maybe you're saying to me, John, this is a little bit crazy. I don't understand where something is going or why something is trending a certain way. It's not because maybe you wanted to go that way, but because of something that changed in your environment. Okay? Something that changed in your environment. And what changed in your environment is something that can make a difference. And that difference means it could affect your path. And the path might necessarily take you to where you want to be, because you might need to alter the course in your direction. It could alter your direction. And if it alters the course in your direction, it might affect where you're going to go. You might say, John, well, what is that going to do? One little thing's going to, that one little thing could change the lens, which is your perspective, guys. If you see something black and white instead of color, that might demotivate you. It might. But if you were able to know that you were off a path, and that path, instead of leading you down the yellow brick road, was suddenly leading you to a dead end or a circle. We just keep looping. Is that a dead end? Well, it goes in a circle, so it's not a dead end, but it's similar to a dead end. A dead end means it doesn't come back again, right? A circle would, or a loop would keep you coming back. We think about possibilities, and we think about things like stuff that might not be unimportant to us because we don't think there's a purpose today. There may be a purpose tomorrow. There may be a purpose tomorrow. If there's a purpose tomorrow, then how do we embrace that? How do we suddenly say, you know what, I'm in? But if we don't know what tomorrow is, we don't know what that purpose could be, How do we move forward? How do we digest? How do we process? We get frustrated. We get immobilized. And our ambition sort of wanes. And we have somewhere we want to go and something we need to do, but it becomes less important. Why is that happening? Because your why is not loud enough. Let me say that again. It's happening because your why is not loud enough. That's the real reason, guys. That's the reason it's doing that. Because your why is not loud enough. If your why was loud enough, there would be no issue. There would be no issue. A why is not something you just conjure up because, oh, gee, I think I'll just do this because it sounds interesting. No. A why is your core mission. All right. And if we don't realize what a why can do for us, then we might be lost. We might just be lost. And that thing that makes us lost can get us to slowly change our daily habits. When the daily habits change, now it's like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do? And it doesn't happen overnight, just like success doesn't happen overnight, right? You get into these habits, and these habits cause us to act differently in our life. Not because we have to, not because we want to, but because of the environment, because of us changing. And that change says, wait a minute, I don't know if I can do this. Why do we get demotivated? Well, maybe we don't have the knowledge to go further. So when that happens, don't get discouraged. Learn what you're missing. Learn that piece of missing knowledge. And then you know what happens? Everything else is downhill. Everything else is easier from there. But most people are like, oh, wait a minute, we got to go up a hill. Okay, it's time to turn around and go home. I'm in a play recently, and in the play, there's Lewis and Clark, and William is in the play with me, and he's saying, in one part of the play, he says, I said to him, where do we want to go now? And he says, you know what? Let's go home. I'm like, go home? Yeah, my mother just texted me, and I'm tired. I want to go home. And I'm like, William, like, go home. I mean, don't you know that we've been entrusted with a task given to us by the president? Don't you want to know what awaits us yonder? Then later on, Sacagawea comes on, and she mentions that there's beets. And he goes, beets? I think my mother just texted me again. I got to go home. And I'm like, William, don't lose heart. I know you're hungry, but we want to continue through the frontier with haste and see what we may find. He goes, food courts, hidden treasure, and lots of, as I say, scientific discoveries. So if our forefathers gave up, we never would have had the Constitution. They were very dedicated men that were working on that Constitution. But again, they did not give up. That is the key that I want to share with you. And that might not be an easy key to understand, but it's an important key to understand. Okay? It's not an easy key, but it is an important key to understand. And that key could say to us, hey, John, What are we trying to understand? What are we trying to figure out? And the case here with Lewis and Clark and Sacagawea, we're trying to find our way. And suddenly there's a fork in the road. And take the fork, and they decide to follow Sacagawea and, let her lead the way. But do we always have somebody like a Sacagawea or somebody that's going to help us lead the way? Or is it us? I think it's us. And when it's us, we need to be very vigilant and resilient because life isn't easy. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been, if you did not know, Inspirations for Your Life. And I'm very happy to say that we are, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are in our 5th year. We've been on the air 4 years in a row, and this makes 4 years and basically 31 days. That's like pretty remarkable, right? That we're on the year now in our 5th year. And you know what that means? Not including today's episode, ladies and gentlemen. But I don't know if you know this, but we are now over 1,605 episodes after tonight. That's incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, and I'm reminding you that loud always fades and quiet will always endure. For more information and inspiration for your daily life, go visit BelieveMeAchieve.com to rewatch this show, catch other nuggets, and get the insight you've always wanted to become a better version of yourself. I'm not going to tell you that life's going to be easy. I'm not going to tell you that things are just going to plop into your path. You need to be a detective and discover. And when we can do these things, we can change the pattern of our life. We can change where we're going. We can affect not only that, guys, but we can affect the outcome. We can affect the outcome. That's pretty impressive, guys. So don't forget to stop by BelieveMeAchieve.com to catch more of my short and long form inspirations. And I'll catch you guys on another show real soon. Be well, everyone, and take care.